and offer his opinion. Yesterday, his boss asked him if he would give a presentation on a big project that they were working on. He immediately got nervous, started stuttering, and as he walked out of the room, said something to his boss about, "I'll talk to you about it tomorrow." But in the back of his mind, he was thinking about resigning. Cindy is a medical secretary. She's been having attacks whenever she's in a confined public situation. She gets the tightness in her throat, the racing heart, the dizziness, and she has a fear that she's going to die. Not only does she fear losing control over herself, but she dreads what others might think of her if this were to happen. Recently, she's been avoiding going to any stores. She will just go to the local 7-Eleven with her boyfriend. She's had to leave movie theaters. She's had to leave restaurants when she's been with her boyfriend because of this fear. She's wondering whether she can cope with going to work anymore. She's been forcing herself to go to work, yet after a few minutes among her office mates, she starts to feel that she's losing control and she has to leave. These people suffer from some kind of phobia, and phobias just aren't fears. They're abnormal fears. I'd like to cover today the 3 basic phobias and some of the treatments that are used today. The 3 basic fears are simple. Is that? Oh, sorry. 3 basic phobias are simple, social, and agoraphobia. Simple is also known as a specific phobia. It's a fear of a specific object, activity, or situation that results in a compelling desire to avoid the dreaded object, activity, or situation. It's recognized by the person as being excessive and unreasonable, but they still have no control over it. The most common involves animals, especially dogs, snakes, insects, and mice. People rarely seek treatment for this because they usually can avoid it on an everyday basis. I wrote some simple, even rather odd phobias, and I just wanted to cover a couple of the simple ones. I don't know if you can see this. I'm not going to say them because I'll get tongue-tied here, but some of them are very bizarre. Peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth, the Pope, heaven. I'd just like to touch base on the first 3 here. Acrophobia. I have witnessed the sheer look of terror on someone's face when they've been confronted by a fear. My mother-in-law has a fear of heights, and she cannot go to the Civic Center. She cannot be on the 2nd floor of a mall when she loves to shop. If you're driving with her in a car and you're going over a bridge, you do not talk. You look straight ahead, and you really pay attention because she just pretty much, is underneath the seat. My daughter, my brother thought that he would be doing something nice for my daughter when she was 7 years old, and he hired a clown to come to the house for a family birthday party. And there were about 11 other little kids, nieces and nephews and everything, and the clown showed up. And she sat there for about 5 or 10 minutes with this look of horror on her face until she finally burst into tears, ran out of the room, and ran upstairs. Took a while to get her out, and we had to ask the clown to leave. But she, to this day, 19 years old in college, and has a fear of clowns. She has a fear of just the mascot dressed up in a uniform at a social thing at school coming near her. She starts to feel the anxiety, and I'm sure it's related to, I think she was afraid of clowns before this. And then the third one, glossophobia, speaking in public, which I'm sure everyone in this room will have conquered after the summer course. It's also considered a social phobia, which is the second one. Social phobias, some of them are fear of speaking in public, performing in public, using public lavatories, eating in public, and writing in the presence of others. Usually most people only have one social phobia. This is what Steve, the software engineer, had. These people find it difficult to be introduced to other people. They think, I wonder what they're thinking about me. I bet they don't like me. They don't like being the center of attention, and they don't like attracting attention. They think, they don't like what I'm doing. I must be making a fool of myself. This is not to be confused with shyness. Shy people usually don't avoid social situations. It's different from the run-of-the-mill nervousness associated with stressful situations. Their bodies undergo physical changes, typically the profuse sweating, the rapid heartbeats, shortness of breath, faintness, blushing, physically completely disoriented, and obsessed with the feeling sometimes that they're going to embarrass themselves or they're going to die. What we're talking about is an anxiety so severe that a person is unable to function either socially, academically, or occupationally. You hear of people who turn down a promotion or quit their job rather than dealing with having to talk to groups of people as Steve was. Social phobia is a very self-focused illness. You might think people are watching you blush and trembling when they're actually only thinking about what they're going to have for lunch. Agoraphobia, the third one, is also known as a panic disorder. Agoraphobia comes from the Greek meaning literally fear of the marketplace, but it's defined as fear of an open space, fear of being in a public place like Cindy. This disorder has more signs, such as the feeling of choking, numbness, and tingling. It can change the quality of a person's life. 1 minute, everything is fine, and the next minute, the person's engulfed in a feeling of terror. The heart races, breathing comes in gasps, and the entire body trembles. The attack may only last minutes, but its memory is lasted forever in the brain, and the anticipation of another one causes almost as much terror as the attack itself. The people who suffer from agoraphobia avoid places and situations where they feel escape would be difficult. The agoraphobia world narrows to only a few places where he or she feels safe, and sometimes, in some cases, it's only the home. The good news is that there are treatments for agoraphobia, and I just want to briefly go over the three types. Well, I'll take this down. Regular therapy, virtual reality, and antidepressant drugs. In regular therapy, a person might be afraid of snakes, so you would go into your therapist and they might just show you a picture that they drew of a snake, but they would keep it at the other end of the room. And then the next time you come in, they might show you a picture of a snake that's a little bit more realistic, only one I had, but also keep it at the other end of the room until you felt comfortable with it. And then maybe the next time, once you were comfortable with that, they might come in with a regular rubber snake. And basically what you're leading up to is having the person sitting in a room with a real live snake and getting over their phobia. Another one that, like Cindy would use, who was afraid of going out in public, was getting to the point of going out, would be she would go with her therapist to, say, a grocery store, go to the front entrance of the store, stand there for a minute. The next time, go back, walk in the entrance of the door, stand there for a minute. The third time, go back, walk to the middle of the store, and basically you're working up until the point where you've got her going through the express with one item, and then full checkout with maybe 3 items. And that's how some of the therapy works. And there also is group therapy that also works very well. The virtual reality is simulated exposure under professional supervision, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with virtual reality, but basically you would put on some sort of device like this, and you would be looking through, and it's all computerized, and it's animated. And something like this works well because a person you have total control. It would be good for someone who is afraid of riding elevators, for example. And you could go up to the elevator and watch the elevator door open and close. And then you might be able to get into the elevator. And then you might be able to push a button right to the first floor. This has been proven very effective because you have total control of it. You know you can get out of the situation anytime you want because it is totally computerized. And it is shown to work within a day. Some people with phobias can overcome them within a day with the virtual reality. Excuse me. The third therapy is medications, which are basically your Prozac, Zoloft, and there's a Paxil drug that's now on the market that's been very effective. Together with the medication and the therapy, the treatment has been very successful. So in ending, we have seen the 3 types of phobias: the simple phobia, or the specific fear of an object, activity, or situation. Social phobia, which is fear of embarrassment in social settings, and the agoraphobia, which is fear of being in an open space. No one knows for sure how phobias develop. Often there's no explanation for fear. In many cases, though, a person can readily identify an event or a trauma, such as having a clown appear at your birthday party. Almost everyone has at least one phobia. A great many of us fear an extraordinary number of things. Napoleon had a fear of cats. Alfred Hitchcock was unnaturally afraid of policemen. Robert Mitchum is afraid of crowds. Dean Martin was so fearful of elevators that he was willing to climb endless flights of stairs to avoid them. Johnny Cash, Bob Newhart, Evel Knievel, and about 25 million other Americans are afraid to fly. We have everything to fear, including fear itself, because we are a nation of worriers, states Men's Health magazine. We develop fears and hatreds of an incredible range of objects, real and imaginary, small and large, obvious and obscure. Fears of all sorts of people, places, and things. The most important for people with phobias to remember is that they are not alone. Phobic disorders do respond well to treatment, and it's not something they have to suffer with. One patient said, "The real me has been hidden for all these years. It's like a big dark curtain was around me all the time, and I'm just poking my head out. I want people to know they don't have to suffer. Life can be enjoyable." It may not seem much to you, says one teen with agoraphobia, but being able to hang out at a coffee house or to shop in a mall is a real victory for me. Thank you. Yes?
Do you have any samples of Paxil?
No. Sit. Yeah. Sit. Imagine that it's about 1 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're starting to feel sluggish and a little tired, and you wish you could go off into a corner and just kind of relax, be left alone. But instead, you decide to maybe go get yourself a coffee or a soda, or maybe you go over to the vending machine and you might get yourself a candy bar, maybe 2. If you're really good, you might go get yourself a power bar. But what you really need is a nap. This makes common sense. This is just common sense because in many countries, the siesta has been institutionalized. Most people will naturally become sleepy between the hours, 2 to 3 hours after lunch. This is a midday slump, and it's perfectly natural. I just have a little chart here. Let's see if I can do it this way. And it just shows that, mid-afternoon dip is right after lunch, about 2 to 3 hours, and then you have your nighttime, your deep sleep, which is, after midnight. We've gradually reduced our sleep time from 10 hours to about 7 ever since the light bulb has been invented. I am here today to persuade you, to encourage your employers to allow or even encourage areas that you can take naps in. And these are really called power naps. To nap means to doze or to sleep just for a little while, for a short period. They can improve your energy level if you keep them short. When you turn off the nervous system, it helps to recharge yourself. It's like recharging your battery. Increased numbers of Americans admit to experience work fatigue. Not surprising, since nowadays we have such demands in our lives as our family, career, school, our civic groups, church, and the thing to go is usually sleep. I work at the Hartford Post Office, and next to where my office is I consider it a nap area. It has 1970 furniture, it's plastic, it's really cruddy, but these people every day take a 15-minute nap. And if you walk by, there's usually between 6 to 12, it's mostly guys, sitting, sitting on this furniture, and they're usually out cold, and they usually ask me to wake them up so that they're not caught by their supervisor if they, because they don't have alarm clocks or anything, and they have to wake up on their own. And they're pretty good about waking each other up, too, once their break is over. They feel that it really rejuvenates them. They get up and they're perky and they're ready to go back to work, and they have no problem. They're not sluggish. They don't feel like, oh, God, And pretty much they're there every single day. Employees have been sleeping on the job since the beginning of time. They have been sleeping at their desks. They've been sleeping in the lavatories. They've been sleeping in their cars, anywhere out of sight of their bosses. And their bosses are usually sleeping in their office behind closed doors. The three main reasons that I feel that you should encourage your boss, your employers, to have these nap areas. It's not that. Is, first of all, we have a need to increase productivity. We need to strengthen morale and corporate loyalty and reduce accidents and errors in the workplace, which is very important. Well-rested employees are efficient employees. Pizza Hut president Michael Orelli encourages employees to take a 20-minute nap a day. He says you're paying your employees to be creative, imaginative, and as sharp as possible. If they're tired, they're not at their best. A survey shows that this boosts brain function, restores alertness and memory, and relieves stress and fatigue. The coffee drinking, the having the candy bar, or a cigarette break, or soda, it's just a false sense of energy. The caffeine, the sugar, the nicotine are just temporary highs, give you kind of a temporary boost. And what happens is you crash to even a lower level than what you started at when you use these. We also need to improve the nap area, to ask for this nap area to help improve corporate loyalty and morale. A growing number of companies offer classes in proper sleep habits, including napping. The Nova Corporation has just started a experiment, and they opened up nap areas in 4 of their plants. And they did it on second shift, the night shift rather, third shift, and a lot of the upper management was against it because they felt that the employees would abuse this. They'd be off napping half the night. They allowed an area with reclining chairs and couches, and they were allowed to go in there for about 20 minutes whenever they felt tired. Only about 25% of the employees used this, and it showed that they felt more alert, they felt less fatigue, and they were able to make it through their night shift. It proved to be very successful for them, and they plan on expanding on it. There are a lot of companies that offer this, and I just listed a few of them. Try to give you an idea of across. Can we get it? These are areas at work that you're away from your work area, you're away from the phones, you're away from the noise, you're in a stress-free environment. Nike has what they quote as a relaxation room. It's a company in Kansas City that they have bought these spent tents, they call them. They're warm-colored tents. They provide eye shades, the soft music, the pillows, the blankets, and alarm clocks. Company in Chicago has what they call nap nooks. Company in Iowa has signs advising napping in progress near their nap rooms. Berkeley, California, they provide a loft with the blankets, alarm clocks, and a 20-minute block nap times. Right here in Bristol, Connecticut, we have Yard Metals, and they're very big into it, and they're adding an addition, or I think a whole separate building, and they have a whole area that's going to be set up for their power naps. They're going to have the soothing waterfalls, the blankets, pillows, and alarm clocks. The third reason to provide these nap areas is to reduce the workplace accidents and errors. Studies have shown that even though we don't feel tired, most people who get between 7 and 8 hours of sleep a night are more irritable, react more slowly, and are more likely to make mistakes than those who are well rested. I personally would like the postal employees not to be too irritable. A lack of sleep played a major role in the 3 Mile Island disaster and the Exxon Valdez disaster. A sleepy worker is a sloppy worker. The signs are all there that this is the way of the future. people will understand that naps are a healthy benefit and not a sign of being lazy. Naps are one of the top trends for the 21st century. The change is slow and steady, but if we look back at our cultural changes, we now have no more smoking in the office. Women are wearing slacks. I think suits are a thing of the past. We have casual Fridays. We just have a little cartoon. Get this one on right. And this first one is he's back from his power lunch now. He's taken his power nap. The second one now is now that we're all upright and awake again, I'll continue my report. 20 years ago, the person taking the nap would have gotten fired, and the boss that would have allowed it would have gotten a pink slip. In conclusion, I'd like you to ask your employer, would he like to increase productivity? Would he like to strengthen the morale in the business? And would he like to reduce workplace accidents? Tell him how easily this can be done. It doesn't need to be elaborate. All you need is a little area, a little quiet room with comfortable chairs, and perhaps some alarm clocks would do. One thing to stress is you're taking a nap at the job, not on the job. It's like a smoke break or a lunch break, coffee break, or going to the gym. And once people understand that, they'll be a little bit less resistant. Albert Einstein felt that his daily naps refreshed the mind and made him more creative. During World War II, Winston Churchill scheduled his cabinet meetings around his daily cat naps. Presidents Kennedy, Reagan, and Clinton have been known to nap frequently. And Salvador Dali, famous artist, he napped in his armchair holding a spoon over a metal plate, and when he started to, his muscles relaxed and he went into a deep sleep, the spoon would fall on the metal plate and wake him up, so it was like his alarm clock, so he wasn't sleeping too long. The Bible says on the seventh day, God rested. Even God naps. Obviously, nappers are in good company. Remember, when the going gets tough, the tough take a nap. Thank you. Well, they do allow them to nap in this area. Someone actually is working on getting a separate area that's more quiet where they're away from the tow motors and the noise, distraction, but it doesn't seem to bother them. They said they just tone it out.